Hey up, boys. There's a real chance here that Leeds could be in trouble and not going up. Yes! Because at the start of this season, right, everybody would have had them top two. Do you know what I mean? If you're thinking of a team that's most likely to go up at the start of the season in Championship, your initial thought is maybe a Leeds, a Burnley, a Luton, probably ones that's come down, a Coventry, a Middlesbrough, someone like that. But Leeds, everybody's got them as like one of the best teams in the league easily. And this is the same as me. I had them second in my predictions, just based on the squad that they've got. But that is whittling away as the days go by with this transfer window that's happening. And good, because I hate them. Like, you think of the names that they've got, the lads that started against Portsmouth first game last week. They've got Melier at net, who I don't think he's that good, to be honest, but it's a big name, do you know what I mean? Even though he's crap. Rodon is a class player, so is Firpo. Ampadu is a very good player. I think he's arguably the biggest standout now. You've got Dan James, Nonto, Ruta, and then Matteo Joseph, that young and up front who's supposed to be next big thing as well. But the reality for me is that the biggest hindrance to Leeds is sat in dugout with instructions and making team every single week. Daniel Farke is a grease ball and is a shit gaffer. When you think about Farke as well, as a championship manager, you initially think that he's just won at best because of what he's done in his career in this league. He's won it twice with Norwich, you know what I mean? And then last season he finished third with one of the highest points tallies ever to not be promoted. It was 90 points that Leeds got and they didn't even go up. They only got to Wembley to lose. So obviously in this league, the thought is that he's a very good manager and he's one that's going to have decent teams at the top of the table, which is true, but I still think he is a shit gaffer and that he wants to get a wash. Both times that he got promoted at Norwich, or both times that he won league even at Norwich, he had best team by a mile. You think about the players that Norwich team had. Pookie at time could have walked around in Championship with a blindfold on and still hit 20 goals. He was best striker in league. Both seasons that he were here, easily. He was starting for Finland and scoring for them. Like that's how good he was at the time. And then, on top of that, they had Buendia, who were comfortably best player in the league. He were freak of nature before he went to Villa. Buendia was so good. And when Farke's got the best players in the league, like he did at Norwich and like he did at Leeds last season, he's going to get results. I think it were actually harder for him to fail with Norwich. In fact, he did a good job failing at Leeds last time, because to not get that side promoted were a joke to start with. But then, especially going back to like the Norwich time, when someone like Pookie or Buendia got injured, the game plan just went to complete pot. There were a graphic I remember at times seeing. It were like Buendia had missed maybe 15 games or something in Championship this one season. And the with and without Buendia were ridiculous. I think they'd won one game out of the 15-16 that Buendia weren't there. So it shows that Daniel Farke's style of play, when he doesn't have his best players there, if he doesn't have the best players in the league, he's got no chance. He's got no plan B. Because the style of play at Norwich and his style of play in general is to force the ball to whatever his best players are in attacking positions and then just try and let them wing it. That's what he did with Buendia and Pookie, and that's what he's done last season with Somerville and Ruta especially, I'd say. And also, that style of play had him 20th in Premier League twice. They went down bottom of the league twice, even with Pookie and Buendia at time. Apart from second season, because they sold Buendia as soon as they went up and went down anyway, because that were given as soon as they sold him. But if Leeds had gone up last season, they'd have met exact same fate. They'd have come down in last. Which I would have liked to have seen, to be honest, because them trying to break Sheffield United's goal record of conceding would have been a rate watch. But then when you think about the season that's just gone, Leeds had one of the three most expensive squads in history. The three most expensive squads in history are Leicester, Southampton and Leeds, all from last season. Leeds got to Wembley and lost against one of the other ones and finished in third behind a League One team that had just come up. So they had Somerville, who were arguably the best player in the league. He probably was best player in the league. It was Sammy Smodics that were by and large best two attackers in the league last season. You've got Ruta, again one of the other best players in the league. You've got Archie Gray, who for his age and his maturity at the time and his ability to play in multiple positions, I would say Archie Gray, again, were one of the best players in the league despite him being 18. You're taking them three players away from him, which he couldn't even get promoted with last time. So how are you going to improve? How are Leeds going to take that next step to get promoted with a much worse team, with a manager that relies on having the best players? Like, you imagine Leeds without Somerville and Ruta especially, and you've got Farke trying to force a ball to his best players to try and wing it. But instead of having Somerville and Ruta, your standouts now, if they stay, is Nonto, who's probably got a release clause similar to that of Ruta or Somerville, a non-promotion release clause. You've got Nonto and Dan James. You're going from Somerville and Ruta, who are arguably top 10 Premier League teams standard, to Nonto and Dan James. They are now the standouts at Leeds from an attacking point of view. Obviously, I'd say Ampadu is probably the best player now, but from an attacking point of view, the focus is get it to these players and see what they can do. Which, if I were a Leeds fan, there's a lot around here in this area, but if I were a Leeds fan, I would be calling for Farke's head because any decent manager gets them promoted this time. Any decent manager, I could have got Leeds promoted last year, but any decent manager would have them up this time by a landslide because that squad is good. It's a very, very good team. The three standouts have all left. I completely agree with that. That's exactly the point I'm making with this. Apart from Ampadu, you'd say 3 of the best 4 players from last season that Leeds have got have all left. But any half-decent adaptive manager takes his team up easily. Because like I've just said, as a squad, this squad is better than 90% at league still. Who's got a better squad than Leeds still, even after selling Ruta? You can argue like a Burnley, Coventry, Luton to push. I don't think Luton have. It's Leeds or Burnley with best squads in league. And I genuinely, now that they've sold Ruta, I do not see a world where Farke can take them up. Because just for like, as a comparison for managers, this is such an easy one for me to make because Barnes is just full of these lot. So if Leeds had Danny Rowe that's at Wednesday, I think Leeds are genuinely be in danger of breaking points record because a decent manager like that, or Danny Rowe's a very good manager, but he would have a squad of that calibre slapping everybody every week. You look at Wednesday last week. You look at Wednesday since they brought Danny Rowe in. It's a team now where 11 blokes know exactly what's expected of them. And apart from, say, Windass as a standout in Wednesday's forward line, there's no standouts there, I don't think. Everybody's on quite a level playing field, and the goals are coming from everywhere. It's not like they're just focusing down one side, like down a Somerville side, like down a Buendia side. They're coming from all over the place at Wednesday. And you put a gaffer like that in front of this Leeds squad, and they would absolutely piss it without even trying. Because that Wednesday squad, again, I think I'm being biased. I could not give a monkeys anymore. I think I'm being biased. That Wednesday squad from last season is shit. This Wednesday squad from this season is shit. But last season especially, that were a League One squad, largely. And since Danny Rowe came in and have had him in 9th, he'd have had him top half. You imagine Farke in front of that Wednesday team? They'd have had about 20 points max. Leeds' biggest hindrance is that bloke in dugout. But at the same time, I don't actually think he's being given much of a leg to stand on because it's known that Farke needs the best players. Leeds are not giving him the best players. They're taking him away from him and then doing nothing with it. Everybody, as soon as these new owners come in, chuffing 69ers, whatever they're called, Leeds fans couldn't get enough for him. Oh my God. And this Red Bull sponsorship, Red Bull Leeds, we're going up, we're going to stay up, we're going to be in Europe. You what? And yeah, they owed a lot of money out. But it wasn't 150 million quid that they owed. That's what they've done in sales this summer. 150 million pound. Obviously the sale of like, Somerville were coming, wasn't it? I didn't think Archie Gray would leave. Ruta, I was like 50-50. I didn't think they'd have to pay a release clause. I thought Leeds would have accepted that. I didn't think anybody would pay the 40 million quid, even though I would say that it's worth it. And obviously they've brought a lot of money in. But at the same time, all them lads that they had from Premier League, that all had loan clauses in the contract, through some idiot making decisions at Leeds, they all went out on loan. They got no money for him. They've all come back, and now they're getting money for him. But it's pittance. It's not a lot. And they're selling players like Sinisterra, Rocker, Llorente, them type of boys that offered him nothing. They've probably lost money on him because of the ways that they've been playing, even with loan fees and stuff like that. They even saw that Glenn Kamara from last season, that midfielder. I thought he was really good. Another good player that sold. So they've sold a lot of money's worth of talent and brought in this season. Well, they got a Joe Rodon, good signing, and Bogle from Sheffield United, a team that's just conceded over 100 goals. That's it. That's all they've done. I think our owners are crap. Well, they are. Our owners do the exact same thing. We sell our players for millions and spend 10 bob as well. But this at Leeds is this is new heights. Selling 150 million quid's worth and you spent 15. That's a joke. But for someone like Leeds to be in Championship anyway, and then selling all their assets without really spending anything on incomings, partnered with that rat as a manager and a squad that's much weaker this year than it will last, with the rat that relies on good teams to get him promoted. Got 90 points with a team that could have sleepwalked there on their own. They could have had Dorient canteen lady managing them and they'd got 90 points. I think if they stop with Farke, there's no way. I've seen Leeds fans as well going complete opposite way, saying that they'll not get playoffs. You'll definitely get playoffs because the top end of this league, I think, is genuinely shocking. It's so bad. I don't know if that's just my mind disillusioned with gap between Championship and Premier League because it's so big now. But like Leicester and Southampton, I think are crap. Do you know what I mean? And they've gone up last season. Ipswich are a good side. But top of this league, who is there? Burnley will just come down with about 20 points. Sheffield United are one of the worst teams ever, and they've just come down and just slapped Preston, who finished mid-table without even trying. Like, the top of this league, I think, is terrible. So there's no way that Leeds don't finish top 6 at least. But for top 2, to keep Farke, I can't see that. Because even when you think about, like, Ellen Road, this supposed atmosphere, humongous den, this place that nobody wants to go to play. It's only ever been good while Leeds have been good. Ellen Road's always been shit if Leeds are crap. Always. I'll never stop saying that ever. And they'll start. To be fair, they sold out for friendly, didn't they? But as soon as you start conceding a couple of goals, you have a couple more draws onto teams like Portsmouth, and half ground will be empty. But the atmosphere looks crap. Against Portsmouth, it was terrible. Against Middlesbrough, it was terrible. Has all excitement for Premier League gone now, and it's back to just being a mid-table Championship team, and everybody's just accepting it, and they can't be arsed with big Ellen Road atmosphere, den, a horrible place to go. I just think they need to spend some money on a decent gaffer. It's not like they ain't got it. Just go and buy a decent manager. Go and buy Danny Rowe at Wednesday, 10 million quid, whatever it is, from him and all his coaching stuff. You can take Darryl Clark from Barnsley, take anybody. I do not think you can get worse than Farke. Genuinely, he's one of the worst managers in Championship. I don't get the hype with him. Like I've said, obviously he's won league twice, but then he finished 20th twice. How good can you actually be if you're never maintaining between 1 and 2 positions? All they ever do is finish 1st and 20th for 4 years on bounce. That is not a good manager, that. And even if he does somehow take Leeds up, which he couldn't do last season with a much better squad, if he takes them up this time, proofs it putting away they're going to finish in Premier League, and it is dead last. There is no way they'd even get a sniff at 19th with Farke in charge. I imagine Farke trying to play that football, drilling it to his best players and letting them wing it, against teams that are coached by 40 blokes at once that are all like well-oiled machines rather than footballers. You'd be a laughingstock. And long may it continue because we're a laughingstock in this league. And I'm loving it. So thank you, Leeds, for this entertainment. Or Red Bull Leeds, should I say. When they eventually sell the soul, like all other Red Bull franchises have. And they'll still be in Championship.